Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Memphis, Missouri, where the Pheasant H-10 aircraft were built. There were 36 of those aircraft built here in Memphis, Missouri in the 1920s. There are only 3 left in existence. This is a remarkable story about how this community found one of those aircraft and brought it back here. Fred Clapp, it's a remarkable story about the pheasant and how your group, the Scotland County Historical Society, found the plane and then got it back here.
Well, thank you. It's been really interesting, and the introduction that we've had when we found out that the airplane existed about 2 years ago now. When we started making some of the local people aware of it, why it has really struck a chord and really brought the whole community together, really.
Isn't it interesting how that can happen? I mean, it's not like, you know, Memphis wasn't a community together anyway, but an effort like this can really get people thinking and working together, and you had to raise $75,000, which is not a drop in the bucket.
We sure did, and it took us a few months to determine that there might even be a possibility of bringing the airplane back. And I thought, since that I'm involved in aviation and I'm a pilot myself, that it primarily would be the local pilots that would be interested. But it also struck a chord with just a number of people, and those who still live here, and also in a community like this, there are those who have emotional ties that have moved a long ways away, and they helped out with the funding. We raised most of the money in a period of about 2 months.
That's remarkable. Now, we're in a museum called the Wiggins Family Museum, and this was here. And then the Family Museum made the space available for the Historical Society to move the plane in. So what you have here is you have a really nice joining of the plane, which was built in the 1920s here in Memphis, and this tractor collection, which goes back not to the 20s, but pretty long ago, doesn't it?
Yes, it's a very extensive collection, and we find that we have those who stop by and are really interested in the tractors, and it's kind of a plus when they find the old airplane here. Doc Wiggins and his family have 25 or 30 tractors in this building, and one old airplane.
And one old airplane. Well, we're going to focus mostly on that one old airplane during this program. I love this. I'm old and fragile. Please do not touch. Is that the airplane?
That's the airplane. Some of the rest of us are a little further along. Too. Yes, from that.
Well, let's get a little closer to this old fragile monster here, because it's a beautiful thing to behold. And there weren't that many airplane manufacturers in the 1920s, so Memphis really had a sort of a milestone, didn't it?
Well, there weren't that many manufacturers. Sometimes small communities. In this case, it was unique to this small community. There were 36 of these that were actually manufactured.
36
total.
Okay.
And this is one of 3 that is still in existence.
One of 3. So how'd you find it?
Ronnie Brown, who drove the truck out to Long Island to pick it, to get the airplane, saw on an aviation publication this was for sale. We did not know that it existed. He brought it to our attention almost 2 years ago, and then the conversation started. You know, wouldn't it be neat to have that back here in Memphis? And so that's how it all started.
And so you find this thing, you become aware of it in Long Island, New York. You know that there are very few in existence.
Yes.
And then you start the process of, I guess, bargaining with the owner as to, well, what can we get it for?
Yes, yeah. The contact was made, and there was discussion, and it takes a while to make people aware of it, particularly, especially since we didn't have a donor that could furnish all of the money or even a major part of the money. So Ronnie Brown, the truck driver, I think struck a chord with the owners, and they indicated that they would give us a little while to raise the money. So that's how it rolled out.
And it didn't take you long, did it?
No, it did not. It took us 3 or 4 months to actually get our act together, and then we had some details to work out. Of course, I worked with the Scotland County Historical Society to get the tax exempt status, but the actual money raising part of it, 2 to 3 months.
Yeah,
Was
you know, another part of the story is bringing it back, and we're going to talk to another one of your friends who helped you with the truck driver get it back here. But for right now, can I go take a look inside?
Sure.
I want to get up on that step.
Crawl right up there and look in the rear
Thank you.
cockpit.
And I can touch this metal part, okay?
You may.
Okay.
If you're agile enough, you're welcome to crawl in.
Now this looks like, I'm not agile enough to do that, but it looks like there may have been 2 people in the front. Would that be?
Yes, it was designed as a 3-passenger airplane. The front cockpit is just a little wider than the back, and so the passengers rode in the front. There are controls up there, but as you can see, there are very few instruments, almost none. And there aren't that many instruments in the back, but the instruments there are in the back.
Okay, so would the pilot have been in the back?
Pilot would have been in the back, and that's a weight and balance issue. Yes.
Very few instruments, and one, gee, I'm not even sure what to call it. Is that a throttle or a?
Well, there's a throttle. The stick in the center is, you know, one of the things that I find interesting is that the plaque there that was, we did not, that was it came with the airplane. So the guy that restored that back in Long Island already had that here, and it indicates the serial number and that it was made in Memphis.
That's perfect. That's perfect. What a beautiful aircraft, I'll tell you. And you didn't have to do much restoration on it. It was done already, huh?
It was done. The cowling was, the paint had chipped off it, so we did repaint the cowling, but that is really the only part of the restoration that's been done here locally. We brought it back here and bolted it together, and
it's airworthy.
It is airworthy.
You could you know, you can get the engine started, and you have a pretty good credibility that you could fly this thing too.
Oh yes, yes, it is airworthy. Would have to pass an inspection. The engine was last started now just a little over a year ago. So there are some of us who, one of the things we would like to do is to be able to get this housed or put a bigger door in this building so we could move it out without taking the wings off and start it.
Okay.
So.
Now, can I touch the plane?
Sure.
Because I want the audience to know what this material sounds like. This is fabric, right?
Yes.
It sounds like a drum.
Yes, it does.
It's just fabric stretched very tight and coated, isn't it?
Yes, that's what it is.
This is also fabric. The orange is fabric.
It's very lightweight, but strong construction.
Except when you get up to the black, you got metal.
Yes, yes.
And the wings are also fabric?
Yes.
And they were built, biplanes is what they were building in the mid-20s,
That's right.
What a beautiful specimen. Congratulations to you and the whole group for being able to raise the money and getting everybody together to do this. This is terrific.
Thank you. We are really pleased and we're really proud of it too.
Well, Ron Brown, we got a little taste of what it was like to try to locate the plane, bargain for the plane, come to a price that everybody could agree on. But then comes the part about figuring out how do we get it back here, right?
Right.
That's where you come in.
Well, I had a lot of help. We have a couple of A&E and A&I mechanics involved, and they've done a lot of restoration work, so they suggested we build these wing racks when we took the wings off. And
So you knew you were going to have to take the wings off?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the wing racks you built those. Those are not, nobody makes wing racks. You built those. And
Yeah,
that sort of cradle the wings, huh? Is that what
Yeah. They have the carpet covering there that it's actually just a saddle that the wings fit in. And we built those and took them with us.
And taking the wings off was not a big problem.
We had actually the people that we bought the airplane off of was almost too much help.
They couldn't wait to get rid of it, huh?
they took it apart kind of helter-skelter, and we was trying to, knowing we was going to have to put it back together, we was trying to watch and kind of keep track of all
Sure.
of it. But they took it apart real quick.
Man, faster than you wanted to. So wait a minute, let me write this down, huh?
Yeah, but it worked out.
Okay, so you built those cradles there for the wings, and those went in the semi first, and then hey, let's walk over and look at some of these pictures that you all took during the process. Now you're a truck driver for a living, right?
Right.
So the point was, okay, now at first, okay, you got to get permission to use a truck, and then you've got to get permission to go to Long Island to get the plane. How did all that work?
Well, I actually, when we went after the plane, that was the second trip out there with the truck. I had went and took some of the other guys with me to look at it. And then when we decided that we had it bought, why we planned the trip out. My boss got me a load to Long Island of refrigeration equipment. And then we had 4 guys drive out an automobile and met us out there. See?
So your boss knew, he was in agreement, he wanted to help with this project,
Oh yeah,
huh?
yeah. He donated the truck.
That's
and we did buy him some fuel, but.
And what company do you work for?
I work for 5D Express out of Keosauqua, Iowa.
That's terrific. You guys couldn't have done this without their help, could you?
No, we couldn't.
Yeah, that's terrific. Now we're looking at some of the pictures here of this whole process, and you can see what it's like to try to load this. Here's the cradle that we were talking about with the wings, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and that went into the truck first, and then this is the part I get a kick out of. Down here, you can see what the tolerances are. You got that propeller takes up almost the entire bed of that truck, doesn't it?
Yeah, actually, the fuselage went in first, up in front of the in the front of the trailer, and the wings went in the back. But it was a full load. I mean, space-wise, weight-wise, no. But space-wise, it took the whole trailer.
Man, if they'd have built that any bigger, you guys would have had to take the wheels off and the propeller off and the whole thing.
We took smaller wheels with us in case that we couldn't get it in with these wheels on it. But we didn't have to take the original wheels off of it. It worked.
Now, this was a little different than your usual haul, right? Because you knew you had this precious cargo in the back, and you sure didn't want to have a wreck or anything, did you?
Yeah, we slowed down for a lot of bumps, I'll put it that way. A bridge approaches is always rough, you know, and we watched them pretty close.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrific. Congratulations on being able to get it back here and in terrific shape.
Yeah, we didn't, as far as we know, we've never found a scratch or a blemish of any kind that we caused. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the interview. Thank you. Florine, I heard that you may be the only person in Memphis that actually saw the pheasants fly.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, oh, yes. We were, and my dad was real interested in that.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
And did he get excited?
Oh, I suppose.
Do you remember what it was like? Like would the town get excited about watching them?
Well, there was a whole bunch of people there to see it. And we was all, I think we were all excited. Their first flight.
The first flight? I'll bet.
And we'd been hearing about it. And Lee Briggs, his name was a very prominent name. I'll never forget that name. As far back as I could remember, was Lee Briggs.
And he was the man who was behind the building of the planes.
Yes.
He designed it and built the plane, Lee Briggs, huh?
Well, the way I understood it, that he was